Father said you have to look for them if they are alright. You have good intention in your mind for them. And them tie up you, or chip, tie me up, and throw me in our pit. You can't just imagine the doubt and, what we do wrong. All of these thoughts probably going through his mind while he was down in the pit. But little did they know that the foundation that Joseph was on was unshakable. And even in his pit situation, he was still unshakable. Even when they never thought that he's winning, you're still unshakable as long as you're standing on the foundation of the promises of God. You are unshakable. It doesn't matter what the devil want to come up with. It doesn't matter what strategies he want to devise or whatever he want to do. You are unshakable. And all you have to do is believe and stand on the promises of God. The promises of God is unshakable. What does this mean, unshakable? It means that it is steadfast. Even though this building seems firm now, if you get a bulldozer them call it, it's simple, it will be destroyed. If an earthquake comes, simple, it will be destroyed. But the promises of God is steadfast. Psalms 111 tells us from verse 7 to 8, the works of God will last forever. It is established. It is established. I remember reading a psalm and David said, Lord, establish me in your righteousness. Because you see, when God establishes you, you're steadfast. And it doesn't matter what storm wants to go on around. It doesn't matter which storm you're going through. The songwriter said, I found rest in the eyes of the storm. You can find rest in the eye of the storm. You can find rest in the eye of the storm. The foundation of God is unshakable because it is already decided by God. It is already decided by God. You see, when God makes a promise, it doesn't matter what happened on earth or what should happen after God made that promise. It shall come to pass. It shall come to pass. I mean, Isaiah spoke about Jesus, right? Isaiah spoke about Jesus. And when Jesus was being born, the king, I don't remember his name, sent out much man to go kill everybody. But before he could have even sent out a man, Jesus was already moved. And he have no idea that it is decided. Why worry when your destiny is already decided? Why fret when your destiny is already decided? He said in his word, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you. Plans not to harm you or to lead you to destruction. We already have his word. And all we have to do is just hold on to it. Why are we bothering about all kind of loose things going on around us? Yes, we should be concerned. But his word will stand forever. In his word, he's talk about all of these things. So why are we worrying about it? And even when him say all of these things will happen in the end times, when him say, it will not come nigh thee. It will not come nigh thee. The promises of God is unshakable because it is decided. The foundation of God is unshakable because it is unwavering. A double-minded man is unstable in his ways, James 1 verse 8. So when I said that the promises of God is unwavering, meaning God don't have double thoughts. His ways is higher than our ways. His thoughts is higher than our thoughts. God already predestined everything before it happened. God already knows that the devil go try this and put that stone there. So, and guess what God do? God strategically put the plan, including the devil's attack. Because he knows that the devil go attack you. So if you build the plan, not including these attacks, then when the devil attack, plan will have a change. But when God includes these attacks in his plan, then it doesn't matter what the devil throw at you. They trap here so. And the devil thinks you're gone on track. But he never knows that the road is already over here so you fall upon. And he trick you again and you trap over here so. But he never knows that God already placed it over there so. Where you go there on track still. He never know that. It doesn't matter what he wants to do. It doesn't matter what they want to think. It doesn't matter how they want to do it. God already strategically placed everything in line just to make you reach your promise. The second truth I want to share with you is that God's promise is absolute. I remember at Bible College, Reverend Conrad Pitkin was sharing a story with us. I think it was a book that he had read about an argument between a pastor and a scientist. So, you know, the scientists go use all kind of facts and fiction and all of those things, and the argument was going on and on. And the pastor would not back down. The pastor was giving the scientist word for word because the pastor did his research. And everything that the scientist said was only proving the pastor right. And the scientist get angry and him shout out, "There is no absolute truth." Well, this was kind of complex for me at first. When him jump up and said, "There is no absolute truth," the pastor smiled and said, "You're a liar. Because you saying there is no absolute truth would mean that would be an absolute truth. So if there is no absolute truth, that would be a lie." You understand? Alright, for those who don't understand, the scientist's words were, there is no absolute truth. What he was saying in his head was the truth. So him saying there is no absolute truth would be an absolute truth. No, the pastor said that's a lie, because you can't say there is no absolute truth, because if you should say that and you're right, there would still be an absolute truth. So no matter how smart the devil thinks he is, God always outsmart him. Because God's promise is absolute. There is an absolute truth. In Genesis 39, it shows that Joseph was now taken out of the pit and was brought to Egypt. And verse 2, I really have to highlight that verse in Genesis 39. It says, the Lord was with Joseph. The Lord, even though he was far away now from home, far away. I remember King Arthur, that it's a movie, and these knights were working for the king for their freedom, and many of them were taken from their homes, and because they want to go back home, they have to fight a certain amount of battle. I think it was 1,000 or so, and survive through all of that. And when they had survived on the 1,000th battle, they would be given their freedom papers to go back home. And on the night when they were supposed to receive that, one of the man's wives started to sing, "We will go home, we will go home, we will go home across the mountain." And they were singing about their homelands. But I can only imagine Joseph could not sing this song because he didn't know how he might go. Because he was a free man and now he was a slave. Potiphar buy him and turn him into a servant and all of that. But the promises of God is absolute. He always have a plan. And it is absolute because it is complete. All things work together for good for them that love and trust the Lord. So Joseph was now out of plan in the devil's eyes. He was out of God's plan. He was no longer in the land where his fathers worship God, where his father would go up and make sacrifices for his family. But now to his father was a dead man, so even if the father was making sacrifices, he would be making it for his other children, but Joseph's name would not be included. Joseph was now out of play in the devil's eyes. And the devil saw that Joseph found favor in Potiphar's eyes. And the devil said, what? You might get too good here, some man. Prison. No, back in the days, they never have sentence. They just send you to prison until the king decide. Say, the king, we are having a prison for y'all 3 years. And then he just said, kill her one day. And let go that one day. You understand? They never say, send him to prison for X time or put this one in a prison till the day of execution. You understand? He just send them to prison and then when the king decide, they will be rewarded with their correct punishment. It is complete because it is already done. God said it is already done. When God called Abraham, God said, come to the land that I have prepared. The land was already there. It is already done. It is complete. It is absolute. All you have to do is hold on to the promises of God and walk in His will, in His way. In this complete promise, all you have to do is walk in it. I can only imagine when the Israelites meet the promised land. I mean, Moses brought them to the river and Joshua brought them across the river. And I can only imagine when they had received all of that and more. And Joshua sit down and start issue out lands and say, you don't own over there, so, and who don't own over there, so, and everybody have a big smile on their face and say, come on people, and you know, everybody gone over there, so, everybody gone over there, so, and everybody gone over there, so. I can only imagine. Because, you see, from when God called Abraham from his father's land, from his father's kindred, he was already looking at the results. When God called you, he's already looking at the results. God have the results in his hand. And he said, okay, you pass. Before you do the test. You already passed the test before you do it. And all you have to do is stay in the exam room. That's all you have to do. Yes, you have some questions where you scratch your head a little. But you have already passed the test. Before God formed you in the womb of your mother, Him saying, know you and Him have a plan for you. Him know you and Him have a plan for you. So before you were even considered by your parents, you already passed the test. Already passed the test. All you have to do is just sit down in the exam room. I remember when I was doing an exam for Pastor Mullins. And see, Pastor Mullins, I tell you about that man. You see, him know how to put him questions then. We have to give the exact answer. You can't answer him and beat around the bush to get no half mark. When him, I don't know how you do it. My first teacher me say that. When him put him question them on paper, him just set it away where you have to say, this happened 1992 or this happened that. Just a direct answer him I look for.